Of course, numbers here are 340-773-0390, 340-773-0490. If you want to catch us live, check out StreamYard.com. Look for WSTX AM 970. I'm also live on my Facebook page. Check me out on Elizabeth Hansen Watley on Facebook. Now, we're going to start off here with our birthdays. Happy birthday to all of you who are celebrating birthday and those who have loved ones who are no longer physically here, but we remember them in our memories. Blessings to you as well. Let's go. Happy birthday to you, and may all your dreams come true. Happy, happy birthday. Oh, this is your birthday song. Oh, celebration all night long. Oh, may all your dreams come true. We sing out together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday celebration. Party night, feel the vibration. Lights are bright, feeling alright. We're dancing till the morning light. Happy birthday celebration. Everybody get the temptation. Once again, this is your life, and everyone feels like happy birthday to you. May all your dreams come true. Sing happy birthday to you. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yes, numbers again, 340-773-0390. 340-773-0490. So much to discuss. So much to discuss. Boy, let me tell you. One thing that I have learned in this life is every time I try to be on my best behavior, the devil will come in. Every time I try. You know, my life has been one of a lot of trials, people trying me, right? For whatever reason, I don't know if they think that because of my general temperament and soft spokenness at times that I somehow don't have this voice that I have in there. But what I think some people are starting to forget, and I'm not talking to just the general public because I know you guys got my back. I am talking to them and those who feel like they can stir up certain things and I would not find out about it. No, I don't know if they think I'm living in some bubble in a corner somewhere and I'm unable to um, mingle. And yes, I do mingle. You remember? I even sung the song about mingling. And you know what I am seeing is, and I anticipated things like this. There are some people who take their time out to go out above and beyond, not to do the work the government have them paying to do, but they go above and beyond to get personal with you. And then they throw the stone and they hide their hand. They think that you will not know who threw the stone. If there's a funny thing though, because if a stone comes from a glass house, you can see it clearly. So, um, there are some people that thrive on chaos. I'm not one of those people. I like to look for the problem and find a solution, and I move on to the next. So while some people may not know the face behind the voice yet, that's because I'm not so much interested in um, getting highlighted, getting credited with, being on somebody's photo or picture or videotape or commercial. Those things don't, you know, get me excited. I have been in the industry of music, entertainment, promotion, and marketing for many years. And so, been there, done that. It's not one of those things I have to get myself involved with. Um, so, I am more interested in hitting the ground and doing the work and keeping my head down. Here is the thing for me though. I've gotten to the point where I think that I need to put some things out on the record because there are some individuals that believe that because I don't go around cussing out people, that I don't go around, getting into arguments and confusion, that somehow everything that you say and you do, it will go unnoticed. Here's the thing. I have let a lot of things pass. I've given a lot of people grace. And sometimes when you give people grace, they assume that you don't have the ability to defend yourself. You don't have the ability to speak up on your own behalf. And so they can continuously do things to try to derail your journey. And like I said, I am no stranger to any of this because I've lived this life. I don't know if some of these individuals have not realized that I have been a part of politics since birth. This is not new for me. Yes, I'm 41 years old. And I can proclaim how old I am because I am quite blessed to have been able to live this long in a generation that many people have not seen their 30th birthday, 20th birthday, 19th birthday that I have lived and gone to school with and grown up with here in the territory. And so, yeah, I'm 41, but I have been around this my entire life. And one of the things that I appreciate is when people can see me for who I am individually. Not to say I have any issue with any association with my lineage, my parents, my grandmother, grandfather, great grand, whatever, my family. I'm very proud of them. But I appreciate those of you who see me for Elizabeth. But I have also grown up with the understanding that I am prejudged wherever I go, right? Just like how we walk around this world and people have these ideas about us based on what we look like. There are also people that have ideas about us based on who we are, who we are born to, where we live, where we grow up, the whole 9 yards. So I am well familiar with it. Okay. Here's my thing. And because I have respect for myself, my family, and my community, that's the reason why I don't do the tit for tat thing. That's the reason why I don't reduce my standing when it comes to my morals, my character. The reason why I uphold certain behaviors because I have respect for myself and those around me. So I am going to maintain being respectful. There is a God, and God sees and knows all things. And I am one that is very deep in my faith. So when people think they're doing something to me, the reason I could give so much grace is because I know it ain't got nothing to do with me. You have to do with how you feel about you. That's fine too. And I encourage you all to get closer to the Lord because He is the one that is going to direct your path the right direction. Like I had to remind some individuals when was in the legislature testifying. When I walk looking straight forward. There are some people that seem to walk forward and is looking backwards. So whatever that they contend with when they boot up, they don't see it coming because you're so distracted. Now, we are starting to get into the political season, and there's a few things that I want to mention before I jump into um, what I'm talking about, because I'm being very general at this point, but I'll see how I feel throughout the show and what I feel to share. But I have been looking at a few things that are taking place. Throughout this cycle, I think that we're going to really get to know some individuals on a different level. We're going to really see who we're in the room with. I see these calls coming in. You guys just hold the line. I'm going to get to you shortly. Um, One of the things that I am seeing is a lot of intimidation of new candidates. Got it. Intimidating of new candidates. Um, and I'm excluding myself because I think that enough people know that they have to come good when it comes to me. But in general, I have seen where there are individuals that are um, supposed to want to help up the next Virgin Islander, to encourage the next generation to get involved, to be able to leave the door wide open because you're not intimidated with who's coming in the door because you've been doing your work, you have been producing, and so you should not be worried about being reelected. But there are a lot of things that are taking place. There are a lot of bullying going on, some very quietly, and a lot of shenanigans that I am seeing. And so here's what I have to say. I've seen some interviews. I have seen where um, there is an intimidation tactic taking place where you're telling people that they're not prepared, and whether that is correct or not. The approach is based on who you want to attribute is the standard for a legislator. And I'm going to say this once and for all. Every election cycle is there because there is nobody that owns a seat in the legislature. And therefore, they have to run to put themselves out to the public every 2 years to make sure that the electorate wants them back, right? The seat is not yours. So, therefore, there are 7 seats open. If we're talking about the St. Croix district, there are 7 seats open. St. Thomas, St. John, you have 8. And I have to fight me all you want on that. I know math very well. So you only got 2 districts in the US Virgin Islands. So, moving right along. There is no reason why, if you are doing the work that people give you to do, that you should be trying to throw stumbling blocks in front of new candidates. Just run your race. And I want to speak to those of you that are aspiring to serve in the legislature. Please do not let these people bully you and don't get caught up in these little tricks that are going on. Because every senator that's an incumbent, meaning that they're serving currently, they had a first day at work. They had to go in and they had to learn certain things. And at the end of the day, I could tell you, based on what I am observing, some of them still learning. So don't feel intimidated by these individuals. Don't feel intimidated by stepping forward. Don't let them bully you. This thing about what you think about what this one say and what you have to say that, listen, at the end of the day, one of my jobs when I was the chief of staff and chief researcher in Alicia Checky Hansen's office was researching. And it wasn't just a general research, Google search, and that kind of thing. She needed someone that would go in and read a book, go in and pull a VI code, look at the Constitution, go into all of the states of the United States and see how they did what we were trying to do, if they did what we were trying to do. What were the after effects of implementation and all of these things before she would make a step to draft a legislation. So don't think that this ain't hard work. It is. And while it could be intimidating, don't count yourself out based on somebody else's opinion of what you can do. Only you and God know what you're capable of. But I am getting, I have my feelings about seeing some of these interviews. And of course, an interview creates an avenue for people to pick you apart, see what you're about. Nobody is perfect. But I also see where sometimes people are being asked questions that on your level where you have not been in the institution may be more difficult to answer. Questions that maybe this is an opportunity for you to study up on. And, uh, you know, one of the reasons that someone like me would be watching all the interviews is because it is part of your preparation process, right? So if you have gone through the process and are going through the process, like I would be doing as well as a aspirant and hopefully a certified candidate in June, is get yourself prepared. All right, they knock you down, get yourself back up, dust yourself off, and keep it pushing. Because I will tell you this, I would take someone who is willing to work with me, willing to learn, willing to put in that work for the people of the Virgin Islands, who a person who is uncompromised and able to say yes or no based on what's in front of us and not based on who our friends are, over somebody that may have been tenured and we still in a mess any day. This isn't about the egos, and it shouldn't be about egos. And I think one of the things that affects us now is that we're so much more concerned about egos and hurt feelings more than getting work done. But we are not in a position to play any more games. And for the powers that be, I'm going back to my original um, spew that I started with. I have been taking a lot of blows for some people, a lot of blows. Somebody asked me once, why does person don't like you? Why these people don't like you? Well, I'm a likable person for anybody that knows me. So it have to be more than just something on the surface. And what I want to do is have you think, really think about it, right? Sometimes people don't like you because you defending individuals, defending the right thing. You cannot be compromised. Some people don't like you because you look good, you speak well, you could challenge them. When they tell you stupidness, you could correct them. You got some people like that a lot more than you think. Imagine being bullied constantly, set aside constantly because you're defending someone. Just let that sink in. And then the person you're defending is believing the stories being told to them by the person that tearing them down behind the back. Now, some other individuals may take this up, get bitter, go out and go on crazy. I ain't built like that. Me, the way I was built, trained, raised, let go and let God. Because you know, one of the things that I learned a very long time ago, what you do in the dark must come to light. And when it finally hits you, what's going on? I'm sure you may have a different temperament. But me, when I done, you know. I don't do distractions and I don't do petty. That's not in me. But I do defend myself when it's necessary. If anybody ever came to anybody and said, Elizabeth said, know one thing, whatever Elizabeth says, she gonna say to your face. The other thing is, what Elizabeth says, she can defend. But don't ever believe anybody that come to you and say, Elizabeth said, but don't tell her I tell you. Uh-uh. Don't believe the nonsense, please. Greetings, you want keeping in touch.
Greetings on this beautiful Saturday.
Good day. How are you?
I am blessed for another sunrise. And I want to
Absolutely.
commend you on that eloquent, what do you call it, soliloquy. You're so eloquent. I'm missing the word. What is it? A monologue, soliloquy, whatever. It was very inspiring. Okay?
Thank you.
And I want to again thank and give praises to the legendary Alisa Chucky Hansen. We are seeing the fruits of our labor. Imagine, do you realize that from the age of 2, that's when she entered the political arena, right?
Yeah, I was. You mean how old I was?
2, did you say 2?
Yeah.
Was she first
Actually,
elected?
she got elected. My birthday is November 19th, so it was just before my second birthday. Yes.
Okay, I heard you had been listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do you realize she had you as an intern in the legislature from then,
Yeah.
from age 2?
Yeah, and I, like I said, I believe last week or the week before, I didn't realize that's what she was doing was training me up. You know, when you're
Exactly.
a child, you have to be innovative in the way you teach your children. Well, she was like that, and she was also an educator as well, and had multiple schools, strong foundation and stuff. So she always found different ways to teach you. Come, let's go. Let's come. We're going for dinner, and she
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to sit down and use my utensils properly and so forth. Fast forward now, I go into all kind of place. I realize I have some people that don't know this, that would be and that shun other people and look down on people. But if you put them in certain rooms, they can't function. And so, yeah, I definitely she took me everywhere. Let me tell you.
Well, she did a brilliant job. And she also inspired other women because I'm seeing a record number of women now trying to get into the field, and I
Mm-hmm.
commend them. I believe in gender equality. I'm not saying I voted for a person because they're a woman,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't decide for the individual. Like you said, there's 7 seats available.
Yeah.
I want 4 to go to a woman and 3 to go to a man, okay, to balance things out because seven is not an even number. We got, like you say, okay, we got 15 senators,
Mm-hmm.
8 from the district of St. Thomas. Yes, I could do the math. I understand where you were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say this. I respect the voters.
Mm-hmm.
Let them use their own intelligence. I'm lately I'm hearing people telling people how to vote to vote for. You don't let nobody insult your intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And to the candidate, I would say this. Please respect the election laws. Please don't go down to a gutter level. It's easy to go down, you know. It's to rise to the top that's hard.
Yeah.
Don't go down and promote disrespect for your political opponent. Don't demean them. You just give your presentation why people should vote for you. And you know, I'm a teacher, even though really my background is science. I have an issue. Nobody's perfect, but if nobody have corrected them, please, for all those of you candidates out there that are using the term invented word, conversate, it's not in the dictionary. Okay?
Yeah. Converse. Yeah.
It's converse. I'm like, oh wow. Do they realize? Nobody ever told them. I mean, I've been a teacher
here's
for
the thing.
22 years.
Well, just like we have our dialect and we have our way that we converse, you have to understand that in our day-to-day conversations, that people pick up on what other people say. It's like
Exactly.
this new generation puts S on everything, and I was like, what? What does that don't make sense? Why are you doing it? Annoys me because I remember growing up, grammar was such a strict thing, you know. It would beat that into you, that you know, being grammatically correct. But we you know, language evolves as well, but we have to hold a
It's embarrassing,
standard,
though.
you know, we have to have a standard.
Yeah, it's embarrassing when you have political candidates speaking in proper grammar. I'm saying I don't have a problem with an accent. I mean, we have an accent, but I'm talking about slaughter in the English language.
Well, I am in agreement with you, and I have seen it, and I have my toes have curled up because you're correct. When you take a certain level in your community as far as being a government official, there's a standard. And while I understand that people, there are some individuals that believe that speaking a certain way somehow reflects better that they are more connected to the community, I think not. I think that as you are to represent all of the community, you have to be the standard, and the standard must be high, right? That means that I expect you to be able to fill the gap where I may not be able to fill the gap. I represent me. But yeah, some individuals are lacking.
That's why it's called the representative democracy. And then have respect for the election law. Okay, everybody doesn't know everything, but use this as a learning experience.
Yeah.
But next time, if you want to run, make sure you understand what are the rules. If you want to join the Democratic Party, understand that's a private organization. You shouldn't expect a private organization to conduct and fund a public election. We elect governors. They serve the entire community. They don't serve just Democrats. Senators, they're there to serve all of us, regardless of party, political party, affiliation. The Virgin Islands government funds the election.
Well, I have some. You touched on a note there that I would like to discuss more if I have more time. Maybe you could call back and let some people get in because they've been holding
all right. So I just want to wrap up and say again, I think you have so far proven you are ready to hit the ground running. And people, familiarize yourself with 5 documents: the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Code, the Revised Organic Act of 1954, the Virgin Islands Code, and Public Law 94.584. Thanks. Be blessed.
Thank
see
you.
you.
All right. Bye. Greetings. You are on Keeping in Touch.
Yes, good morning, good morning. Listen, give me what a little, please. Give me what a little. You tried to put me on earlier, and I can't get on. I don't have time limit. One person talking so long. Everybody needs to say a little piece.
Well, go ahead. You are on live. Go and say your piece. Good day.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. You're on live.
Now, I'm speaking to Elizabeth.
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I am hearing you loud and clear.
Oh, all right. Yes, darling. I calling to get something straight. You say you're running for you say you're running for senator. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. What party?
I am a no party,
Yes. No party, fine.
independent candidate. Yes.
All right. I think I was hearing there was some kind of bill was going through the legislature for people who wanted to run, they have to take time off from work. Is that true?
That is correct.
So if you know, so you're going to be on leave of absence
Mm-hmm.
to run for the Senate, just for argument's sake. So I know you're going to win, honestly. I know you're competent enough.
Well, with God in
Join us
control.
to,
Thank you.
you're joining up to first time runners and run for the first time like President Joe Hill. Can you get in really? Yeah, use one and join the back. But let me be serious. If you don't make it, you'll get back to your job.
Well, that's
But no,
well. Let me explain it a little more because you're asking me. Um, when in my position, I have to take leave, which I'm already on leave, by the way. I'm not, and I'm an aspirant, but I'm already on leave. But when, no matter what happens in the election, I still serve out until January, unless the governor decides he doesn't want me in my position and he could terminate me. That's fine. But once the election is over, I'll go back to work. Yeah.
I don't think that should have. No. Sweetheart, hear me go. That's not going to hamper you. By positive, you are going to win or you are going to win. I was just trying to be the devil advocate in case if you was not successful, if you're able to get back to the job. Because this leave and you're where you are, is at the field there to governor. But then he can be out, so I don't think it should hamper you. He can be out, somebody else is going to for him. Even before the senator, when he's in the governor, when he's him before the senator.
Correct.
So, and I think that really your fate, also your fate then will be depend on whoever wins. When I just having some sort, I was just thinking about it. I always able to sleep and happen. So what I do that? Why a person have why my senator then saying again the leave of absence?
Well, here is the thing that I have been seeing, and I have a very big problem, not just in politics, but across the board. I like to be fair and give everybody a fair shot. This bill that was held, that would have addressed that red tape where government employees had to take a leave of absence from their job. And while we in the environment where everybody is necessary to make things function around here, we always short staff. We need the skills and the expertise of these individuals in their position. Now, it's not just a leave. You have to take a leave for 6 months before the election. 6 months. So, and you're correct. The legislators don't have to do that. They have the ability to have full access of all the benefits and campaign throughout those 6 months. But they're telling you that you can be trusted to do the same thing. I think that it is blatant, um, you know, blatantly in favor of their benefit, and everyone can see that. It's just like, and I'm gonna bring this up because I think that these two coincide with each other. That when you are a Democrat, you only are required to get 25 signatures, when everybody else has to get 100 signatures. So if you're an independent candidate, it's not fair. Let's make it balanced. Even if you say, okay, everybody only require 25, or the Democrats have to be required to get the same amount as everybody else. But this thing about this, you having ability to have less.
I don't like one person we talking. It's like a like the education, where that's scholar. She want to
Oh,
talk about man,
educator.
she do the same thing every week, and I don't like that. 3-4 minutes, then you come back. You can't, you can't have nobody talking 10 and 50 minutes straight.
Yep, got you.
And like, I'm sure, please, 5 minutes, just call back again. Try don't come up and the lady who put me on just now, because the educator won't come up, express on one thing, and she's repeating herself week after week. So I listen to the show. I listen to the show, please. It's serious. This is your fit right now. We need as many people to call in to say to you, good luck, and what the things they would like to do if you get in. You need everybody to support. You don't want no one fucking 15 minutes. I called. I gave her. That paper, check it on the phone. I was on for 15 minutes, and the lady who answered put me on. Well, I wish you the best, young lady. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
You're going to win. Trust me, you're going to win. You have to think for you. You're going to figure out for your mother, and you're figure out for your own self, for your intelligence, and I acknowledge you to be very safe. I mean, that's the only woman, honest, the way you speak.
Thank you.
So good luck. You'll get a good problem. I'm going to say.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Last thing, my name is Ira Happy, because people take me for Lambel Cook. Lambel Cook before. I'm Ira Happy, are the union man. So many people tell me they hear me on the radio, when I know, at the time they tell me I'm not. They are taking me for Lambel Cook. So I'm making it look normal this morning.
Okay.
Ira Happy.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you so much for calling and listening. All right. You have a good one. Okay. Greetings, you're on Keeping in Touch.
Elizabeth.
Hey, how are you?
Chacha, to God be the glory. Good morning to you and the Virgin Islands.
Good day.
I got 2 ears and 1 mouth. I trying to listen more than I talk, because people say I sound like vinegar and I sweet like honey.
No man, no man.
And I don't say what they want me to say, or I don't stand how they want me to stand. So they vex at me and they comment at me, and they think they're gonna, screw face know who to frighten. Right? And that's why, but I trying to, listen more, because I realize that Elizabeth, going forward, if I'm not wrong, the highest voting segment of our community is everybody 50 years and up. Not 50 years and down. 50 years and up are the ones who participate.
Yeah.
And it's on us. The disposition of these Virgin Islands is on us. We continue to let people sell we promises and empty hope. And when I say empty hope, it's like some of them who don't profess to be Christian. It's like empty Christians. They don't stand for God. They don't speak up for God. They don't stand for God. They just call his name. But that's all. All work, all faith without work is dead, Elizabeth. This thing is not luck. This thing is walk, Elizabeth. And
absolutely.
I'm going sorry.
I said absolutely. His walk.
And going forward, that's what we need. A lot of people going on this name recognition still, This week are they popular in the community. That's what's going to get them going. And for some reason, again, us, the generation that's voting, we continue the same thing over and over. So the debacle that we find ourselves in is we that doing it.
We, the older generation, who's supposed to know better, we're not acting smarter. We acting like we went to Miss Manda Yara, went to school and don't know better. You know, the reason these Virgin Islands are in the debacle is because of the voters who continue to this friend thing. You know, they holding people accountable. Okay, I said mercy. You give them one chance. But fool me once, that's on you, Elizabeth. Fool me twice, that's on who? That's on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna let you keep fooling me over and over. You know, that's the problem around here. You know, people just going along to get along one. I don't know what it is to get. Maybe whether they'll get the both side of the slice of the bread buttered. I don't know what is it, Elizabeth. But it's really sad, you know. And then I was listening to the caller that just got off with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and that man, I don't even think he's a part of the union, and he's still carrying the union responsibilities because he feel like nobody else wants to step up. So thank God that man decided God keep him healthy and strong so he could continue to push. You know?
Yeah. But here's the thing. The thing is, I still have faith in our community to see the writing on the wall, because I don't know how you could live in this community and not feel the pressures that are taking place, right? We all of us living here together. So and that's why I started off by speaking about, these people doing interviews, but they're holding up people as a status quo. Well, if we were so happy with the status quo, we wouldn't be running. You wouldn't be, the people wouldn't be asking for change and new faces, right? So obviously they're not satisfied. That doesn't take away anything from those individuals who are incumbents. But what it says is that we need better. We want better. So just to exclude somebody because they're new, I'm not in agreement with that. But that doesn't mean that the new person doesn't need to prepare themselves. So I don't talk about it from two ends of the spectrum. However, you have the opportunity, and talking to these aspirants, y'all have the opportunity to get yourself ready if you do the work. So don't let anybody tell you just because you knew that you're supposed to be ruled out. All these senators and incumbents were new at one point. And like I said before, a lot of them still ain't up to par with where they need to be. Let's just be real. So, so don't act like this is an impossible feat. But I do agree. We in a position now where we can't wait not 2 years for you to get it either. So you got to come correct the first time. That means do your research, read, get brushed up on your civics. Do what you have to do to be prepared, because they're gonna come for you, and this is not a walk in the park. Okay?
You're so correct. All of them were new. All of them started new, and it come like they done forgot. So now, you don't want to call it what it is, but it's hypocrisy to watch what they're doing. They want you to lose 5 times before you could get in. They want you to lose everything before you could even get a chance. Some of them might have run 2 and 3 times, and they didn't make it, so they want everybody to go through the same situation that they went through.
You could imagine if our forefathers thought like that, we would still be enslaved.
They don't want to give nobody a fair chance to take their seat, so they're going to make it hard. Listen, they had this measure to open it to everybody, open it to government employees, and everything. They took away that opportunity. They took it away. No, we're not giving you no opportunity to take our position, to take our seat. And to me, that sends
the thing is, it's not your seat to be taken. If you do your work, you don't have to worry about who coming up. My mother served 22 years. 22 years. And she campaigned hard from beginning to end. It was not because I'm an incumbent, this is my seat, and I ain't got to this, and I ain't got to campaign. No. We were knocking doors. We were out there, morning, noon, and night, rain or shine, to make sure people knew that she respected their vote and she gonna work for their vote.
I'm asking you to do the same, Elizabeth. when I see somebody winning, when I see somebody get into the legislature and they ain't even had one fundraiser, they ain't had one cookout where people could come get around, listen to them, ask them questions.
Right.
Like how it used to be in the past.
Yeah.
How is it these people getting inside there? And ain't not even one fundraiser they have done. To me, they coming out of somebody's pocket, getting in somebody's pocket.
Well,
You know, and it continues to happen, Elizabeth, that the money tag and what. But that's what going on around here, and they're setting themselves up because again the people not smart, the people not they're not choosing wisely. They just a part of a clique. To me, it's almost like we have little kingdoms inside of the legislature. Everybody feel entitled. So based on what group they're with, the group gonna support them and they're gonna move on. Elizabeth, we need districting. The senators rejected the community's plea to take St. Croix and divide it.
Why? Let me ask you this, and then I'll let you run so the other person could get in. Why you're saying districting? Okay, we have districts already. So elaborate more for me.
Okay. What I'm saying is that break St. Croix down into 7 districts. Since the senators don't want to reduce the number of senates, then give everybody.
So let me ask you why. What's the purpose of breaking down St. Croix?
The purpose is this, right? The purpose is this because when I'm in Block 2. And Block 2, the constituents in Block 2 don't like what I'm doing. The constituent can hold me directly accountable.
But you could do that already.
The members in Block 2 cannot vote in Block 3. They can't vote in Block 4. But they can hold. Right now, we can't hold nobody accountable because everybody is going behind the fact, oh, it's not me alone. Or it's 7 of us. Or it's not 7 of us. It's 14
so,
of us.
yeah, okay, so let me ask you this question, right? If they're broken down in 7 districts on the island of St. Croix, do they still have to work together out of those districts?
Yes, they have to work together.
Okay, so now you're saying, hold on, let me finish this thought. Well, now you're saying that you get to only hold one senator accountable out of the 7. Hold on. You're going to only be able to hold one senator accountable. So that means if the other 6 bully your pick, you will never get anything done because you don't get to vote for them. You don't get to hold them accountable, and you can't change who they are.
Listen, if your mother, I'm going to use your mother as an example. If she was in charge of District 2, she is so stateswoman-like that she could convince the others in the support this year that I want in my district. And she could get the same support, let me support his district. So they could support each other. Each district could still get the support from other districts, but to hold them accountable, we need to put it into sectors where the sectors could definitely, okay, we don't want you representing no more. We're going to select somebody else that going to work with the other group. So you still going to find, even though you represent one sector, you have to collaborate and work with others to get things done, Elizabeth. You still have to collaborate.
Well, we're gonna agree to disagree because to me,
thank you for the time, man.
Yeah, well, to me,
all right. Bye.
To me, not being able to hold everybody accountable gives you less power as the electorate. If you're gonna tell me that if I live in Princess, I get one representative, and everybody else gets their representative, the other 6, and my representatives want. Let's say we want to have a mill that produces a wind turbine to produce power in Princess. What is the incentive for the other 6 to do that for Princess? There's none. And what fear is there if I don't support it? If nobody in Princess could vote me out, there's none. I believe if we were going to do any sort of change, it would be that we would make all the senators in the territory at large, because when they make the decisions, they affect all of the territory. Greetings, you are on Keeping in Touch.
Greetings once again. Taxation without representation is an abomination. So you're telling me I'm supposed to pay my taxes, which will fund government government employees and the senators are government employees. Yet, I shouldn't be allowed to vote for all of them. I think the best way where you get equal representation is to make all 15 elected at large. The 7 top vote getters on St. Croix, 7 top vote getters on St. Thomas, and 1 at large. So I get to a situation in which everyone from both districts could vote for. I believe you could achieve greater representation that way, because if you break it down and I could only vote, let's say I'm in District A, I could only vote for candidates running from District A.
Right.
And what if I don't like none of them?
Or what if nobody in District A wants to run?
That's the next problem.
You see what I mean? Because let's just say,
well, nobody wants to run, I don't run.
what I'm just saying, that's also a possibility. You may end up with nobody in the area that wants the seat.
So people need to consider that. You're actually disenfranchising yourself, because you only be able to vote for people from your district, whereas we have a unicameral legislature with 15 senators.
So one of the things
for everybody.
One of the things I want to jump into quickly, and then I'm going to pick up that next call that's coming.
No problem.
Those calls.
But you asking me a question.
Yes.
So I really can't.
So I read about $400,000 being basically passed through legislation. Of course, the governor still needs to. They have to do what they need to do to get it all the way to becoming a law. But $400,000 towards the Democratic Party to run their primary, right? It's a primary, like you eloquently said earlier, it's a private organization, right? And they have their rules and their standards and their regulations, which we have learned about, even recently having some adjustments there. And as we know, that if you're not a Democrat, you cannot vote in a Democratic primary, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But these monies, $400,000 is being allocated to a private entity to have their primary. Now, I want to know your feedback on that.
My thought is in the law, the Virgin Islands law. That's why I said be familiarized. The BI code, it says the Virgin Islands government is responsible for funding all elections. That includes special election, runoff election, general election, primary election, and any other type of election, because it's for public office. It's not for a party member.
So I am glad you made that explanation, because therefore, that means that those Republicans that may have a primary, if they ever do, or any other party can request the same amount of allotment, right?
Absolutely. But it was a choice. Nobody put a gun to my head and tell me to register as a Democrat.
Right.
Nobody.
No, but we're just speaking in general that any private entity that is a party, of course, you have to be officially established as a party, can request the same thing from the legislature, right?
Well, it's not supposed to elect members, official members of the Democratic Party. It's for public officials. It's a choice, like I said. It's
right. We've had Republicans and so forth. Just as an example, I'm just saying if they had the need for a primary,
serving the public,
right?
Serving the Democrats in the community. A governor, if that governor is elected as a Democrat, that governor or a Republican or whatever, the governor is for everybody.
So let me ask you this follow-up question. Why do you think that the legislators waited all of this time to allocate these funds, knowing it was already in the law that they would be required to provide some sort of resources?
I think they're listening to the vociferous minority, which includes me. So I don't think anybody should be showing a pitchfork at me. Yes, I'm part of the vociferous minority. We speak our mind. We are outspoken. But you don't know what's in the mind of the silent majority, because their voices are their votes, and the votes are their voices. They're not telling you. So I think the influence, who's shouting the most and ranting and raving, putting all kind of things in their head. People from the board of election with board of confusion, telling them, no, Democrats, let it fund their own election. When it's for Democrats, it's for public servants. If you choose to be affiliated with a party, then make up your mind. Are you going to join the party and follow the party rules? Because they was a ruling. Judge Malloy, they came, the minds met, the supervisor elections, the state chair of the Democratic Party, Karen Burke, they have an agreement.
Yeah,
there's a process in place. So it's not about it's only for Democrats. It just happens to be that way because you don't have more than seven candidates running
aspirants
for the for Republican as a Republican for the Senate. That's not the fault of the Democrats or the ICM. The party is practically defunct. I don't even know why they exist still.
Well, because people have the right to exist.
I know.
But I'm gonna let you run. You could always call back. Let me let the other person come in. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Greetings, you're on Keeping in Touch.
I don't even know what.
Greetings, please turn your radio. Yes.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Listen, I ain't calling you with no nursery rhyme, right? I ain't got anything, but Elizabeth, how much districts we have on St. Croix? In the Virgin Islands?
2.
All right. So St. Croix will forever be permanent minority then?
No, not really, because if we wanted to, I'm glad you asked that question. What we could do is make all the senators at large, right? That way, because let me ask you this. Do you agree that the 15 senators determine what happens in the Virgin Islands as far as passing laws?
Yes, the Virgin Islands, correct.
Okay. So that means that we have 8 other individuals, well, let's say 7, because we get to vote for participating in the one at large. So 7 in the sister district that we don't get a say whether they get to stay in the legislature, whether they do something that negatively affects us or not. Is that correct?
Well, Elizabeth, I'm open to trying anything to make it fair. So what I've been thinking about, Elizabeth, because of the 2 districts and St. John being, written in law that is a part of St. Thomas district, I feel the senators are not going to go for all 15 at large. They're not going to go for that.
Well, another option could be.
I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but they're not going to go for that.
But then here's another easy option, right? Because as the law is written right now, the at-large senator has to come out of St. John.
And that's the unfair advantage.
Right. So if you want to remove the advantage, what you do is that person could come from any other the districts.
As long as St. John is represented, the at-large should be able to come from whatever island.
Yeah, well, the St. John is represented anyway because it's a St. Thomas St. John district, right?
Yes, but at the same time, St. John needs to have represented one of the district senators from St. Thomas St. John needs to come
hold at that. Okay, St. Thomas St. John, let's talk about it. If you wanted to say you wanted to adjust it so you think that it would be more balanced. If it's St. Thomas St. John is 1 district. Let's say you have 7, right? Because we removing the at-large for the time being to concentrate on the 7 seats for St. Thomas. If it's St. Thomas St. John is 1 district, then shouldn't the 7 come from St. Thomas St. John?
Yes, one should come from St. John.
No, it don't have to be one. If you have
it could be more than
seven,
one.
it
Correct.
could be more than one because it's one district, right?
Correct.
All right.
And,
So
and
if
then
you
the
say
adults to come from any island.
exactly,
And then
simple.
Elizabeth, you know what that would do? That would, to me, that would give Sinclair the opportunity to one day maybe have the Delhi Day alive. And Sinclair one, instead of being a permanent minority, whatever the people support, if the people support, the person from St. John for at large, well, St. Thomas gonna keep the majority. If people support the at large from St. Croix, well, St. Croix may have a chance to be the majority. So you need to just open it up, Elizabeth. But right now, how they have it set, St. Croix is a permanent minority, and it ain't gonna change. And
I agree, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whether we change that or not, our representation needs to be stronger, right? We don't need any more people that just gonna go along to get along. They talk about when you go over there, drink the juice to the Kool-Aid. We need people that will stand on the strength and stop compromising. Simple as that. I mean, people tell me, I watched some of these interviews, and one of the individuals that was asking the aspirant the question said, what would you be able to do if you're an independent candidate, knowing that the Democrats run everything in the legislature? You would not be a Democrat, and so you wouldn't be able to get anything done. In general, that's what the person is saying. Very false. The longest serving St. Croix senator in St. Croix was an independent. How was she able to last? How was she able to have the longevity and be able to still be able to produce? Right now, we're surviving off of our legislations, right? We're using the TARF, which is a tourism revolving fund. We could talk about the amount of legislation she was able to successfully have her colleagues support and become law. Wow, not because she was exactly. I remember sitting there and seeing a supermajority in the legislature, which included people that were not in the Democratic Party. That is not out of the norm. What is happening now if we are...
Yeah, they have Republicans, they had
independents. Yeah, so don't act like it's not a possibility. And what we are saying is we're going to stick to the status quo because you say so? Because you decide this person have to be in charge all the time? No. That is you compromising before you even make an argument as to why you need to be included. If at this time and age, we would exclude somebody on the bare minimum fact that they are not a Democrat, something really wrong with us. Because I would think at this juncture, we would want to utilize everybody that have skills to contribute to moving us forward positively and in haste, because things ain't looking so bright right at the moment, but that doesn't mean it's not getting there. But we need people that know how to get things done. You can't just tell me, okay, Elizabeth, you're an independent candidate, so you can be in the majority. All right, yeah, you can decide to do that. Is it going to help you? Because truth be told, when the Democrats get into the legislature, they're often the ones, you're the majority of the individuals there. You should be knocking out legislation, revenue generating legislation left and right. All of y'all in the same party. That isn't happening though.
Nope. But I'll tell you this quickly and I'm going to let somebody else come in. Elizabeth, listen. It is clear as day. The majority have some members of the minority that decided to lock everybody out from having an opportunity to run. So it's not just the majority that did it. They had minority members join on with the majority to lock anybody out from challenging them for the position.
Well, I paid attention to that, and we're going to read the names here and keep it in touch.
And listen, the 400,000 was not for the Democratic primary, because if they had enough Republicans that needed a primary, they would be there also. If they had enough ICMers that needed a primary, they should have. I think there should be a primary for the independent too. My opinion, that take cases. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Greetings, you're on Keeping in Touch.
Yes, how are you, ma'am?
I am standing. How are you?
Great. I'm a member of the Board of Election. I need to clarify two things, if I may, please.
Could you put your name on the record for me, please?
I'm Harriet Mercer. I'm a member of the Board of Elections, as I just said, Harriet Mercer.
Welcome, Miss
I'm also
Mercer. Go
part
ahead.
of the I'm also part of the strategic planning committee for this election, and I'm also part of the as a chairwoman actually of the grievance and resolution committee. So we take all kind of hits with all kind of things being said. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that although the monies that were given or to be given for the primary, I want to make sure to people understand that it's a fallacy to say that because it's a primary that's going to benefit everybody, meaning it's closed, but yet it's going to benefit everybody based on the quote unquote winners. That goes so much in contradiction to the judgment of the same Judge Malloy. If you were paying attention to the DPI, I don't know if you were paying to the recent court case where the Democratic Party chairwoman Carol Burke took the chairwoman and chairman and the supervisor of elections to court. Were you paying attention to that court case?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, in that court case, please understand that that had nothing to do with the board itself. Okay, just the chairman and just the supervisor. And so that in itself is a problem. We've stressed that in the board. And that was to no avail. Three board members submitted affidavits to the judge to aware him and make it very clear that we did not vote for that type of situation whereby the Democratic parties would be able to come by us and do what they're doing now. Okay, you know, it was not at all in any vote or any discussion. All right, that was a private situation held by the supervisor and by the chairman. That is fact. These three affidavits were totally ignored, and the judge went ahead and proceeded on this fraudulent MSA, mediated settlement agreement. However, to make it clear, our primary, once it's closed, as in the Virgin Islands, this territory, we have determined, most of us anyway, that it means that it's closed. And so since you cannot have the public participate fully, full electorate participate, then it must mean that you can't take the full electorate's money or even the general public's money, period, electorate or not, to have them pay for it. The senators understood this, there's no opposition, and they still, quote unquote, are going to try to get this money funded. Just because everybody will benefit means it's not sufficient to say that they're going to benefit if you're not also letting them participate. Okay? You can't do that and should not do that. The judge is aware of that. We made everything clear, and still the judge did what he did.
Would you say that maybe the law needs some clarity to say that?
No, I wouldn't say the law.
Well, let me finish my statement. That it needs clarity to probably say that the government is required to cover general elections.
It's already in the law. That's the thing. It's already there that we know. If you're reading the Virgin Islands Code, Title 18, it's very specific that anything the election system does is towards the general election. That is very clear. It's never been unclear. Of course, it's clear also that a primary must take place August 1st every year. And before time laws were different, saying different dates. But it's clear now as we speak that it's August 1st. That is clear. So the parties can do whatever they must. If in fact they need a primary, should they need a primary. Republican Party, I see, may not need one, but any party that needs a primary. So this is all is acts towards any political party. So it's very general that we speak. However, that is already clear and also on the court record. Just now, in that PPVI case, the judge made it very clear when it was asked about monies to the primary. The judge said, I cannot force anyone to give money to a party. He made that clear. It's on the record with his own mouth. So
well, I am in anticipation of what's next because I anticipate that this is not the last rodeo for this particular topic. And we'll see something else again. The issue that I have, and maybe one that needs to be legislated, is that I don't believe that we should be entangled with any sort of implementation of any changes within the law having to do with elections within the same year of the election cycle.
Oh, so not even the 6 months.
Not even the 6 months, because let's be real. If you're telling me that within 6 months of an election is when you are having to take a leave of absence if you're a government employee because you're an aspirant or you're becoming a candidate and all of that within the 6 months, that means that you understand within the 6 months is when the election process starts. So you're telling me
Absolutely.
within those same 6 months when the election process starts, you are going to change the rules,
Mm-hmm.
right? That creates chaos in our election cycle,
Let me just correct one thing you
unsureties.
said. Let me just correct one thing because you said within the 6 months. Let us say without the 6 months. Okay, so back it up and just apply what you're saying to before the 6 months.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. I want this 6 months out.
Mm-hmm.
6 months out is when
Mm-hmm.
we see people getting into this election cycle. And so, why would I want to create chaos and confusion within that time frame?
Well, the chaos and confusion should have ended before the time frame, before the
Well,
6 months. Now you're
but
also
we
saying it
seeing
should
what,
have been before the 12 months.
yeah, but if you have to remember, I could pass a legislation outside of the 6 months. That doesn't mean, let's say, that it gets all the way to the process. I could introduce it and start the vetting process. That doesn't mean it'll be completed before the 6 months starts. Remember that?
The point is the law says it must be an act. It must be a law. It must be completed, not started, not a bill waiting to be signed. It must be completed before the 6 months. We'll just put
Yes,
it in
but
May.
we know that if you start something like this, which may cause questions, concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and confusion in the public
Mm-hmm.
within the same year of an election cycle, that can affect the election.
Well, not if you say, look, it didn't, finish up by the 6 months. It didn't finish up, so we're not even dealing
No,
with
no,
that
no.
at the
It could
time
have
of.
finished. It could have finished 2 days before the 6 months. What I'm saying is, it's still within the year. So here it is. We have people that are thinking about election and not trusting the system because here we are trying to change the rules or change this or change that. And 6 months out, if you think 6 months out is not a long time for people to take leave, you could think that they're gonna forget all the confusion within the 6 months.
I don't agree with the 6 month leave at all. I don't. I don't. I don't. I think that
Well,
those who
I'm
can,
making a general statement. I don't mean you
yeah, I know,
personally.
I know.
Yeah.
But those I believe who can definitely stay off the clock and still do their affairs like how you're doing. But then again, those who have to stay on the clock, they have a great advantage too because all they got to do is when they finish their 8 to 5 or whatever amount of hours, just simply then meet up with their team. Their team has been doing all the
Well,
work during
well,
the
Miss
day.
Mercer, you and I know that there is
Mm-hmm.
no senator waiting until after 5 o'clock to go and
No, no, no.
campaign.
But still, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Eyes are watching everybody on the clock. Okay, meaning that
Mhm.
you may be a candidate on the clock, but you have people who are adversaries against you. They don't want you to win, or they want you to win. So believe me, you eyes are on you on the clock. So you'll be a fool to do a bunch of crap on the clock and take the chance
I
of being
agree. I agree, and
written
I
up.
think that is
Let me
very
finish. Let me
insulting.
finish. Written up, exposed, and all that foolishness. I suggest those of you on the clock to do it legitimately. Period. And that's sitting senators too. That's why. Because
Well,
I've seen
again, I
sitting
don't know of
senators come in
anybody
the
on the
street.
clock doing that. That is not a sitting
I've seen
senator.
senators come in the street and say, elect me, don't forget me on election day
Yeah, I
while
said
they're running,
again. I
you know.
said I haven't seen anybody on the clock doing that. That's not a seated senator.
I know,
So,
but we know it's
so
happening. You haven't seen, but we have others of us have evidence of that.
yeah,
And
but
I'm saying
again,
if you have
here is the
evidence,
thing.
make it
You have to
public.
have a level playing field across the
Yeah,
board. That's my opinion of
right.
it,
But
right?
if you don't have the level playing field, if you
Hmm.
don't have it, then you got to move to step two. Expose the wrongdoers. Okay? I personally believe the 6 months, cut it off at the 6 months, meaning a law is in place before those casting of ballots before the final filing date. I believe all those things out of the way. And no discussion today right now about anything languishing is appropriate or some I should say sufficient. Now you believe 12 months, and I can accept that as well. Okay? Entire year before, get it out, sign in law and all that kind of stuff. But if anything did not sunset, didn't meet the sunset of the 6 months, naturally it means don't even consider it right now for this election. It will have to apply for the next one. Okay? I'm down for that as well. So no more talk about it if it didn't sunset by the 6 months. Now, of course, senators, they like to do this thing about notwithstanding anything to the contrary. Only the candidates, well, I should say the people in general, voters or not, have the right to then make a lot of noise about that. We don't want that not to stand into
And
the
here's one
primary.
of the things that we see historically that happen when they do these changes. Next thing comes all these legal cases. So even if
Right.
it's not something that's going on and taking place in the legislature, there's the
Mm-hmm.
fallout of it, and that's why I'm
Right.
saying 6 months isn't long enough. For
Mm-hmm. I
me,
got you. I can
you see what I'm
definitely
saying?
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'll let
Yes.
you
I
run
can
on that
definitely agree.
note. Thank you so much for calling, Miss Mercer.
Okay, and anything else? The second one was just that thing quickly about the congressional. That was
Well,
your
I'll have to.
congressional
You'll
change,
have to
just so
call
you know.
back and let me let these
Okay,
callers come
great.
in.
No
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. Greetings here on Keep It Last. You can call me back 340-773-0390. 340-773-0490. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on that I think could be shifted so that we don't have the chaos and confusion when it comes to election cycle. Let's make sure that people feel confident in the system. I don't know why we feel the need to create chaos and confusion every election cycle. You didn't have these ideas before the election was coming. I mean, I believe I read that the legislature um, moved a series of election reform, if you want to call it quote unquote reform measures, to include raising the cap of donations from $1,000 to $3,500. Dealing That was one. Another one was dealing with signage, which I haven't been able to see the legislation in front of me, but if it is what I believe it should be, where there's a clear distinction between temporary candidacy signs um, and free speech being different from doing commercial signage. Um, I discussed here on Keeping in Touch that I was a proponent of that because it makes no sense to me that we have free and fair elections and you're hampering um, candidates and putting red tape in front of candidates and making it more difficult for them to notify and educate the public on their aspirations to become, you know, the public officials for whatever area they're running for, and making it harder that by charging them over $100 and something to put up a temporary sign. I mean, I don't see the logic in that. I understand that the coffers of the Virgin Islands are in need of money, but some things just don't make sense to me. Um, the other thing, I said that and I thought about Kramer's Park and charging people to go in their own tent in Kramer's Park for camping. There's some things that I just think need to be left alone, man. But I'm happy to have had this very healthy discussion. There is some things that I still want to say, still want to talk about. I posted about my dismay about some action or lack of action being taken when it comes to supporting the Taxi Cab Commission. Now, for them and those who are listening, full disclosure, I am the current chair of that Taxi Cab Commission board, not to be confused with the actual Taxi Cab Commission office. Um, and have so been working very closely with the office executive director to keep them afloat, and along with my colleagues on the board. And it has been a journey. And I must say that I have to congratulate those staffers that work in that agency and my colleagues on the board, because I think that the general populace has been aware for some time that there was a lot of trials and turbulence on that actual board in the past. And I could say in the past because now, thank God, there is harmony on the board in the general sense. We have like minded individuals that are not about egos, but about progress. And within such a short span of time after my colleagues decided to entrust me with the position of being the chairperson, we were able to collaborate and work towards restarting the um, taxi operating or operators classes at the University of the Virgin Islands through UVICEL in collaboration with getting funding from the Department of Tourism. And so I'm very proud of that. I'm happy that that was done. Um, the board was also able to install fully a new executive director in Ms. Melissa Smith. And so we were able to create a bit of stability in the agency. Um, and now she has been able to bring on some enforcement staff so that they can start regulating again. I thought I would mention these things for a few reasons because I take very serious when people give me a task. I don't go out and make any grand announcements about it. My thing is, I let my work speak for itself. And my ability to collaborate is because I tell people I listen more than I speak for a reason. I need to understand the issues so that I can address them. I need to be able to research so that I know how to address an issue. I need to know what is the most efficient and effective way to get something done. That's what I do. I don't know if you ever seen that uh, series that was on Netflix. I think that Olivia Pope was called a fixer. I can't remember the actual show it is right at this moment, but it'll come back to me. I fix problems. That's what I do. When you want something fixed, you call me, right? Uh, so there was a host of historically, um, you know, plaguing issues at the agency. And I have been appointed on this board from the Department of Tourism representative. The appointees come from the governor of the Virgin Islands. The law requires that you have an appointee from the LCA and from the Department of Tourism, and then that's in conjunction with private citizens from each island and taxi drivers from each island. So I hear some people say they need to have taxi drivers on the board. Well, we do have taxi drivers on the board, and it's a requirement of the law. So just putting that out there for some edification. But in addition to all of those things, it also has to have somebody that has a law enforcement background, whether that be you know, it could be police, lawyer, somebody with a legal background. Um, here's the thing. I have taken blows. When I tell you blows for this board, right? And it we had to transition. We had a situation where um, we had former individuals on the board before I came on, right? Um, and then we transitioned out some of those individuals aren't board members anymore, and we have evolved. And now I look at we're in a position where there are some people that have gotten so used to hearing negative things about the Taxi Cab Commission Board that they automatically jump to that. Oh, that board always got problems. Well, we have problems in a long time. That's number one. Uh, since I have become the chairperson of the board, I can attest to that. That board members have worked hard, worked holidays, worked nights, worked weekends, collaborated and worked together to make sure that we were able to hit the ground running and address these issues head on. Not having classes for taxi operators who want to get into the industry is unacceptable. And so we changed that. After 5 years of not having classes, the classes have now restarted, right? So we're getting people in, we graduated people through the process. Um, they are ready to go. So one problem down. Getting a new executive director that could produce, not a problem in the bank. Getting the board to have a clear direction on target points we needed to address, whether it was filling vacancies, getting an executive director, starting the classes, rolling out Safe to Ride proposal in conjunction with the Department of Tourism to make sure that we have a marketing campaign, letting people know how to identify legitimate transportation and how to maintain their safety. Um, all of that is being done, but sometimes you have to come and let people know what is taking place, because then certain individuals will not feel like they could so willy-nilly make statements like there's no improvements on the taxi cab commission board, they do nothing, they're not productive, and the whole 9 yards, which some um, legislators have felt comfortable saying based on all stories and all interactions, when in fact the current board has been more than productive. The new executive director, with just two staffers, has been able to change um, the whole application process in conjunction with assistance from the UBI cell, and being able to now make the application process more smooth, more transparent. We're able to see applicants, see all of their records, vet them in record time. The turnover time has now shortened as far as going through the application process, getting through archaic issues with little to no resources. And to sit and hear some legislators just be dismissive, because it's clear to me now that the agenda is not to facilitate resources for the Taxi Cab Commission. It seems more to make it defunct, and so they're not getting the monies that they need to get to update their systems. And my curiosity is in why would you want your taxi cab commission, your authority that regulates your taxi cab industry, not only regulates, but is also tasked with improvements and service to your taxi men and women out here, service to your local citizens, accessibility to safe transportation, and your visiting guests. Why wouldn't you want the computer systems to be upgraded so that those who are plagued with not being able to access their families and their loved ones' information can do so? Um, you know, have the assistance that they need without us having to go through piles and piles of old paperwork, um, just archaic processing, not have a valid working computers, computer systems, online resources, and so forth. What is the reason for that? Who are you trying to punish? Because the only people that are suffering by the system not being able to function on 100% is the people of the Virgin Islands. If I walk into an office seeking services and a service cannot be provided because of lack of resources, that doesn't hurt me as an individual. That hurts the person that I have to give the service to. The other thing I have an issue with is bashing three people that have gone above and beyond to service the entire territory without having the resources necessary to do so, without a thank you, without an acknowledgement that you, the same legislators who said that taxi cab commission was lacking, have not seen all of improve the system, although you basically defunded them. Read the reports. I'm not a taxi cab commission employee. Just go out and read what has been done without the resources that they requested and imagine the possibilities. But what I would not stand for is giving people the impression that these people aren't working, that they haven't made improvements, that the Taxi Cab Commission board hasn't produced when they have. We have gone through the ringer and have gone to a multitude of meetings, town halls, and everything. Cat boats stayed at the legislature after 8 o'clock at night and later hours. And, to hear some of you say, oh, we ain't support that because they miss a meeting. And what meeting you talking about? Meanwhile, classes are actively going on right now to produce even more taxi operators. I heard no acknowledgement from the legislature that these classes have started, that people could actually get into the industry now, that they're being trained and ready to go. You all said that you had a transportation issue. You said that you wanted to have these town hall meetings to hear from the taxi operators who came out and told you that they not only applauded the taxi cab commission because they're getting better service, but were in full support of them getting the funds they needed to update their systems. So when you guys ask me the backstory of what I was speaking about when it came to taxi cab commission, that's the backstory. Being able to work tirelessly in conjunction with those uh, individuals, one executive director and two employees, and a board of five, inclusive of myself. These are the things that were able to be done. And I thought it unfair to just hear these comments and not come out and defend these employees that never get a thanks for all of what they do. I mean, when you think of the amount of work that comes in, the amount of taxi drivers that they have to service in the territory, um, you know, and going above and beyond. And that's not a job that you just get to sit back and relax. Oftentimes they go without taking a break because there's nobody to fill in when they take a break. So I don't want anybody to beat up on them, bully them, and all of that. I could take the licks. They got me in court right now because um, of the former executive director is personally suing me because the board decided to terminate her. That's fine. I am not a novice to this. There are individuals that think that they will try to bully me, but understand this. I don't make one step forward without reading and researching. I am not a proponent of breaking any laws. And so when you come good. Because me acting in my official capacity to protect the people of the Virgin Islands, I'm willing to take the blows for it. But what I would say is, when you're done, I hope you're ready for what comes after, because there is no way that you're going to take up my time, my attention, and my resources and believe that it will just like you're going to get grace after, because I gave enough grace. And that's what I have to say about that part. As far as these elections and all of these other things I started out talking about, there are people that understand that I am not well intimidated by anybody or anything. There are some of you that believe that, oh, she thinks she's this and she thinks, no, no, no. It's not that I think anything. I have self respect. I am not going to allow people to disrespect me and talk to me crazy. That's one. Number two is, despite what you may have heard, any rumors, like, some folks have come to me with some real outlandish things about me. And I laugh to myself because, first, you are crazy to even repeat that to me, because that tells me a lot about what you think. The fact that somebody could come and tell you certain things and you even entertain them tells me a lot about you. There are certain things people would never come and tell me because they know better. Oh, she don't do this, she don't do that. Let me tell you something. If you give me an assignment and you never and I never have to come and tell you anything about the assignment, because I fix things. You don't have to ask me about it again. It's done. You have to worry when somebody keep bringing it up to you, because that means that it's not done. If somebody have to constantly ask you about something, and here's the thing, I'm accessible to everybody. Y'all know where to find me. You know my phone number. You know how to get me on Facebook and anything else. Ask me the question before you run and talk things that don't make sense. You hear this and you hear that. I hear a lot too. I wouldn't come and waste my time and tell you I hear who you're there with, who you're sleeping with, why this one walk here, why that one walk there, how come this one could do this and that. Me, I don't hear a lot and I don't see a lot too. But I don't waste my time. This head got brains in it. And one of the things I enjoy is learning. And I don't have time to waste with pettiness. So if you see me in a room and you did and the chit chat and no, guess what? I promise you I'm not bothered by any of it. You know what bothers me? If you challenge my intellect, but you don't give me an opportunity to display it, that bothers me. If you're going to challenge me and say that I am not intellectually savvy, question my merit, question the fact that I have skills for what I do, that is fine. But give me the ability to respond. These backdoor and side door conversations, some of y'all can't function without the chat GPT and the AI. Okay? Come and ask me the question if you really want to know. Challenge me to my face. And when I say challenge, act like I said, ask me the questions. You have concerns, bring the concerns. I can promise you, if you put me to do a task and I agree to do it, I get it done. I don't care. It could be anything under the sun. And if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to let you know up front I don't know how to do it. That doesn't mean I can't get it done. It might take me a little longer. I'll have to research how to do it. But I ain't going to fake the funk with you. Then there are some people that are more concerned about what they look like on the outside and not what they have on the inside. I ain't got a problem. This idea that some individuals have that they will always get grace. That's another idea you need to get rid of, because we are now living in an environment where people don't give you much grace. That means, because you have some people that feel like they could tell you anything and you're not going to respond because you're so concerned about what people think about you. I don't have that problem either, because I know how to respond in a way where it makes sense. I don't have to get out of character. And if you don't get it, well, I'm sorry you didn't get it. It went over your head. You don't, trust me, it will hit at some point. My resume is online for anybody who wants to check it out. It doesn't entail every single thing I've done, because I have a life and I have things to do. But it entails enough for you to understand and get a good grasp of my skills and experience. Um, like I said, I am not someone you can intimidate. And yes, I'm human. I have feelings and all of that. But I don't let these kind of things distract me, because, truth be told, I have been living this life under scrutiny for all my life. And so this isn't new to me. And while I understand that some people that are now just getting their feet wet may feel intimidated by some of the actions that are being taken and some of the advantages that are being taken against them, I encourage y'all to get a backbone, because these people can be vicious. When I talk about these people, I'm talking about the people that you're going up against, because this is a competitive field. They can be vicious. So, I mean, I've said it here enough times. I've lived this. I had to really step back and make a decision considering all things um, that come with this. And so I am not going to proclaim that I am a Chucky Hansen, because I truly believe there will never be another Chucky Hansen. However, I had the blessings to be able to have her as a mother, have her guidance. I also have a strong father and his guidance. And so the collaboration of having people that love and support you, that can call you out and let you know that you need to pull yourself up, that you don't get to cry about this over and over again, brush it off and keep it moving. Those are the type of parents I was blessed to have. And thank God I still have my father living, that continue to give me guidance and strength and support from a parental standpoint, and remind me that I am his child. And so we don't back down. We don't play no games. My grandmother is Miss Crystal from Gallows Bay. We plays no games, right? I add that S there because the young people say S and everything. We play no games. The thing is, when you understand that this takes more than just intellect, but it also takes heart, it also takes sacrifice, it also takes you stepping forward. Um, I can just say that I appreciate all the grace I've gotten from the people of the Virgin Islands to be able to do what I'm going to do next. And I thank you. And this has been Keeping in Touch with My People. We're here every Saturday, 10 to 12. Thank you so much. We have another show up next. Y'all stay safe out there. God bless. Until next time. Bye. Greetings.
I am Elizabeth Hansen Watt.